Okay, here's a wild thought for you. Have you ever been scrolling through your Instagram feed and felt like, just maybe, it has something in common with 18th century French aristocracy? I know, it sounds a little out there, but today we're going to explore the absolutely striking parallels between the powdered wigs of the Rococo era and the pixels of our digital age. And trust me, you are going to be surprised by what they share.
And that leads to this really fascinating question, right? Did the spirit of Rococo, that whole world of elaborate fantasy, performance, and self-display, ever really go away, or is it just found a brand new home online? Well, let's dive in and find out.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the shared obsession with escaping reality. Then, we'll see how that fueled a kind of cult of me. After that, we'll get into the surprising tech parallels. Think mirrors versus pixels. Then, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the cracks in the facade. And finally, we'll ask the big one. What could all of this mean for our future?
All right, first up, escaping it all. I mean, we've all felt it. It seems like the Rococo elite and us, today, share this deep, deep need to build a prettier, more perfect, more pleasurable world to just retreat into when the real one gets a little too heavy. So, what even was the Rococo? Well, you can think of it as a huge reaction against the super heavy, dramatic, serious, Baroque style that came right before it. Instead of all that doom and gloom, Rococo was all about lightness, intimacy, and pleasure. It was basically a bubble of ornamental beauty created for and by the aristocracy. Just look at this comparison. It's wild. The Rococo escape had these things called Fêtes Galantes, paintings of perfect, dreamy, elegant garden parties. It was literally the 18th century version of an influencer's Instagram feed, all perfect moments and zero real life. And on our side, the parallels are just uncanny. We have our curated social feeds, immersive video games, and this massive wellness industry designed to help us just check out from the stress of it all. But you know, this escape wasn't just about creating some fantasy world. It was about placing yourself right at the center of it. And that brings us to our second big parallel, how both of these eras created a full-blown cult of me, an obsession with individualism and what we'd now call personal branding. Back in the Rococo, portrait painting started to change. It wasn't just about showing off your status anymore. It was about capturing your unique personality, your charm. Fashion became a huge tool for making a statement. And salons? They were the stage where you'd perform your wit and build your personal brand. The echoes today are just deafeningly loud, aren't they? Constant selfies, curated aesthetics defined by the brands we buy, and of course, social media, which is basically a global stage for everyone to brand themselves as the main character. But here's the thing. None of this just happens in a vacuum. Both of these cultural moments, these obsessions with self and escape, were powered by the defining technologies of their time. They just looked a little different. So the Rococo tech revolution, it wasn't digital, it was material. You had breakthroughs in porcelain and furniture that allowed for these super light, delicate forms. But the real game changers were technologies of light and image. Mirrors were everywhere, creating these dazzling theatrical rooms. And new printing methods meant that trends could basically go viral across Europe, like a slow-motion 18th century internet. Now the parallels to our own tech are just so direct. Our smartphones are the new material shaping our world. Digital filters have become our new mirrors, right? Reflecting a perfected, idealized version of ourselves. The internet obviously is the engine for instant global trends, and all the while algorithms are building these personalized echo chambers, which are not so different from the exclusive curated salons of the Rococo. Okay, so far it's been all about pleasure, beauty, and self-expression. But both of these glittering ages have a dark side, a really dark side. So let's start peeling back those beautiful layers and take a look at the cracks in the facade.
The Rococo was blasted for its frivolous, superficial nature, this frothy, beautiful lifestyle completely disconnected from the growing poverty that was, about to explode into a revolution. And today, we see these really uncomfortable echoes. The endless display of extreme online luxury, right next to headlines about real-world inequality. The potential for performative activism that feels shallow. And that feeling that our huge online networks can sometimes be a mile wide and an inch deep.
Now, speaking of challenging the status quo, something really fascinating started to happen visually during the Rococo. On the actual ceilings of these grand aristocratic homes, a strange, kind of subversive new figure started popping up everywhere.
Before the Rococo, those big Baroque ceilings were all designed to inspire awe. We're talking epic religious scenes, powerful gods, big serious stuff. But in the Rococo,
They were replaced by something completely different. Pulcinella, the comical, messy, irreverent trickster. The goal totally shifted from awe to amusement.
And this shift from pure seriousness to playfulness is absolutely crucial. It really makes you wonder what dominates our digital ceilings today. What are the images that we are all collectively looking up at in our shared online world?
Yep, memes and viral videos. They are our modern Pulcinella. They're often absurd, totally irreverent, democratized, and they're designed for a quick laugh and mass sharing, not profound awe. It represents the exact same kind of shift from the grand and serious to the playful and the human.
This whole idea of performance brings us to masks. At the Venetian Carnival, a physical mask literally gave you anonymity. You could shed your social status and be totally free. Well, today, our curated digital profiles are our modern masks. We perform an idealized version of ourselves, and we even change the mask depending on whether we're on Instagram or LinkedIn. It gives us a certain kind of freedom, but it can also keep all our interactions right on the surface.
And while we're wearing these masks, there's this other massive force at play, the digital Panopticon. Here's the basic idea. Our devices are like watchtowers. We know we're being observed by algorithms and companies, and that knowledge makes us police our own behavior. We carefully manage our digital footprint because we know it's being watched. But unlike a prison, the goal isn't discipline, it's profit. Our self-regulated behavior literally becomes a product to be sold.
So, after exploring all of these echoes, from escapism and self-obsession to the very masks we wear, where does this leave us? I mean, if history really does rhyme, what on earth might be the next act for our digital age?
Okay, let's pull it all together. What we're seeing here, these aren't just quirky similarities. They are deep, enduring human patterns. Whether it's the 18th century or the 21st, we see this constant drive for pleasure and escape, this intense focus on the self, and brand new tech shaping our social lives. And always, there's that tension between the perfect image we want to project and the messy reality underneath.
But history shows us that these eras don't last forever. The Rococo's intense frivolity was met with an equally powerful reaction, neoclassicism. It was a movement that called for a return to reason, to seriousness, to civic virtue.
Which brings us to our final and maybe most important question. If history is any guide, are we on the verge of our own neoclassicism? Could we be about to see a widespread pushback against the endless performance and a renewed search for real authenticity and deeper connection? Maybe you're already seeing the signs of it. It's a pretty compelling thought to end on.